Okay, let's go over some of the sports massage techniques for the lower body to start with. So what we're actually going to do for here is you can actually plantar flex, bringing the foot down. As you can see, you can plantar flex. So we're going to plantar flex, bring the foot down, and gliding up for the tibialis anterior region. So the tibia bone, just lateral to that is the tibialis anterior. So the ratchet technique, remember we went over that one? So plantar flexion slide, extension nothing. 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 Or you can actually perform one gliding technique up the whole side of the leg then. But just make sure again it's not on the tibia bone at all. Make sure it's on more just lateral to that then. You can also rotate, pull the foot towards you, but stop before you hit the tibia bone. So just make sure you stop before you hit the tibia bone. Those techniques, you can actually rotate the whole foot then. But again, anytime you're actually performing these techniques, it's actually a little bit easier so you can actually get a little bit more pressure, because that's a big complaint out in the field, that you're not getting enough pressure for the client. So sometimes the client will actually participate a little bit more with these techniques. Okay, next one, what you can do is you can cup the calcaneus here, the heel, and I'm actually going to dorsiflexion it. You can dorsiflexion it and contract the muscle more. So I'm actually going up towards the knee, so you can get pressure on either side of the shin region. Or again, just like we did before, but you can actually both sides go up and kind of squeeze, but not on the tibia. Okay, especially for problems with cramps in the feet, if they ever develop any of those, you can actually kind of rotate and twist, or you can actually massage that area too then, okay? So more of an opposite movement for that region. Okay, next one, I'm actually going to extend the toes and go down the foot. So extend the toes, go down the foot, so you can add a little bit more pressure that way. Or you can actually use your knuckle going down, or all your knuckles. So extend, go down. Or you can actually rotate the foot towards you and go across, so it gives a little bit more resistance. So I'm rotating it towards me and going across, or you can rotate it across and pull towards you with the technique. And with the toes, you can actually just kind of pull and hold and do a little traction for that region. Works out nice. Otherwise, you can traction and twist for the toe region. Or you can separate it too. But just, especially with the athletes, you actually want to look in between the toes, make sure they don't have any athlete's foot. So it's going to be uncomfortable if you actually extend the toes like that. So that actual action is called abduction, abduction. So it goes away, so you're opening that area out. Okay, next one, I'm going to go underneath the calf region and actually have them try to push down on the table with their foot. And I'm going to kind of slowly rotate out. So lift it up again and try to have them push down on the table, like that. Okay, next one, I'm going to lift underneath both sides and have them push down on the table and slowly slide out. And if you want, each time, you can actually make it a little bit deeper. So this is actually incorporating a little bit deeper pressure into the treatment. Next one, you actually have your forearm underneath here. You can kind of rotate around, see if you want a little bit more pressure. Or you can actually have them kind of push down on the table with their foot to increase the pressure this way then, okay? Or you can push down like this. So again, not on the tibia bone. Okay, next one, I'm just going to bring it up here like this. And I'm going to go across the foot, but pull the knee towards me when I perform it then, okay? So you get the top of the foot. Reflexology, this is more along the chest region. So especially smokers, it's going to be a little bit more tender. People that are upper chest breathers. Okay, next one, what I'm going to do is actually ask permission to sit on the foot, and you can actually grab a towel if you do have any lotion or oil in there so it doesn't get on your clothes. Just sit on their foot and kind of separate the gastroc then, okay? So you can actually put your fingers in the belly of the gastrocnemius and kind of separate it. Or you can go the other way too. But just always watch your reactions too. If it's too much pressure or if it's not enough, then they can actually incorporate a little bit of resistance with it then, okay? Okay, next one, you can grab the opposite leg and you can kind of pull it towards you a little bit. And the thing is, they can actually resist. Try to bring it this way. Okay, so go ahead. So you can go right across the peroneus region, or you can go up the side, right up the side of the peroneus. Or you can actually use your hip right here, get a little stretch even with the TFL region. So you can go up there. You can even perform inversion. So inversion, remember inwards, inversion slide up, eversion nothing. Inversion slide up, eversion nothing. So you can incorporate that. And also right for the heel area, you know, like pray for pain. And rotate it around. And if you want, you can just have them slowly try to lift up their foot. Okay. You can increase it a little bit more. If they want a little bit more pressure then, okay? So again, make sure you can use a towel in certain areas, so if you're going to have a lot of oil in your body. Okay. Next one, I'm just going to lift up the foot a little bit, and you can have them try to push down on the table and go right underneath the gastroc, any areas. You can even rotate the leg a little bit, so you can actually get it this way too, okay? You can even do a little bit of movement. A few seconds, get a little stretch. Okay, now for the leg region, what we're going to do here is you can actually perform a little bit of a stretch. And anytime you're stretching, so you can bring it down, or you can externally rotate it a little bit and go down more of the hamstring region. But you can actually make a ratchet technique into this too. So extend it out, go down the adductors, bring it back, nothing. Extend it, go down, back, nothing. So that works really good, but with the adductor region, the groin region, it's going to be really tender on most people, so just make sure you perform a little bit slower if you're going to perform a little bit deeper pressure in those regions. Okay, next one, I'm going to have them internally rotate like this, so pushing like this, and they're going to externally rotate like this. So I'm going to have them push, push, and then you can go across the quads or the shin region. And again, you can go a little bit deeper if you want each time. Or you can start with them externally rotated and have them internally rotate like this then, okay? So internally rotate, internally rotate, internally rotate. So again, if you want a little bit more pressure, that will actually help out some then, okay? Next one, I'm going to cup the calcaneus. I'm going to use my forearm to actually stretch out here and actually go down the quads. But just make sure they have a healthy knee for this region, so when you're performing this. So it's stretching out some of the hamstrings, maybe a little bit, but you can actually bring it up a lot higher if you need to. But the lower the table, the better for this. But it's usually getting the calf region, so the soleus and the gastrocnemius, really good for this area. Okay, next one, I'm going to externally rotate like this, flex the knee. I'm actually going to put this on my hip, So I'm going to bring it up like this, hold down the quad. You can actually go down the adductors here, and also a little bit of the semitendinosus and semimembranosus, the medial hamstrings. So you can incorporate that. Also, you can go cross fiber friction over that region too. So it's just a little bit easier access to those muscles, especially the adductors. Another one for the adductors, you can cup the hip and have them try to lift up their knee. So try to lift up their knee and see if you want a little bit more pressure that way. Okay. And then when you come back, nothing. But when you're going down, that's when you want a little bit more of the resistance for that then. But again, with the hip, make sure you're cupping it. And make sure you're not putting pressure right on the hip bone. The ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine region. Because you are more likely to bruise that region if you do that then. Okay, next one, you can actually put it above the patella here and do the same kind of motions and try to have them lift up. There you go. Try to lift up. Lift up. Okay. Or you can actually have this foot underneath their popliteal. Okay, and then try to lift up. Try to lift up. But you can also just hold it down and have them try to resist you. And go down that way. But otherwise, if it's, again, most people, it's going to be really tender in this region, so you don't even need to do that. But if the client is really not flexible at all, you can put a bolster or a pillow or something underneath, right underneath here, so it's a little bit more comfortable for them. Or you can actually, if you don't want oil or anything on you, just wrap a towel, just rest it like this, so it's another position that you can actually incorporate these techniques into it then, okay? So that's for that region. Then you can also, I'm going to have the knee flexed. Okay, so knee flexed like this, and I'm going to pull it this way. So I'm going to pull and then go down the quad. So you can even do a ratchet technique with that. So pull, slide down the quad. Pull, slide down the quad. Pull, slide down the quad. But I'll show you what we actually did here. Is here, we pulled it this way so you can stretch out a little bit of the gastroc and soleus regions through the calves. So you can do a little stretch like that then, okay? Okay, next one, what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring it over here like this, and I'm going to pull the knee towards me and go down the lateral side of the leg. So just pull it a little bit each time you're going down that region. So a little bit more. Okay, next one, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use her foot on my hip bone. So you can do a little bit more stretched. You can actually get the biceps femoris right here. So you can walk it in a little bit, give it a little stretch. But again, you can go a lot slower with these techniques, try to get a little bit more pressure. So just make sure you're aware of any tender areas. But the nice thing about these techniques, it actually gives them a little bit of stretch, and the average person does not stretch on a regular basis, so they're going to need these kind of techniques then. You can also put your body in here too, okay? So the one before, we have it on the hip, but now we're going to actually have my body in here, so resting right on my hip, so you can actually walk it in a little bit to get a little stretch. So you can get the TFL region, the vastus lateralis, also the biceps femoris. It's a little bit easier access for you when you perform this then. Okay, next one, if they're not really that flexible, you might have to just bring it over here like this. So the leg is not over here like we did for some of them. We're going to have it right here, bring it over, and then go down. But again, they can actually do some resistance if you need to, increase the pressure. But also the ratchet technique usually works really nice. And especially for some of those therapists that it's hard to actually just stay in one spot for long periods of time. These techniques keep you busy the whole time then. Okay, next one, I'm going to perform abduction. So abduction, away. So I'm going to use my hip right at the medial side of the knee. So like this. And then you can actually go down the adductor region for a little bit of pressure. And if you want a little bit more, you just walk it up and and go down the adductors here. But if you have the foot totally rotated out, if the foot is totally rotated out like this, that's more of a hamstring stretch. But if the foot is totally up like this, that's more of an adductor stretch. So it's actually stretching the adductor region, so the area you're concentrating on more. But again, when the foot is pointing straight like this, not straight up, but straight, you get more of that area. Then you can also kind of drop it a little bit, drop the leg down a little bit to get a little stretch for that area too. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate on the other side of the table for more of the quad region. So you just have you scoot your hips over here, but your upper body just like that. So we're going to bring it out like this. So you can actually go up the quad region when you're stretching it out. If you want them to help, you can actually have them hold on to their ankle. And if they can't reach it, you can use a towel or a rope so you can go up the quads area, okay? So that's really beneficial for the quads. Then you can also just bring it out here like this and bring it down. So you get more of the adductor region. Okay. Go back to over this other side. Okay, next one, they're just going to try to lift up the leg and I'm going to go broaden the quad area. There you go. And again, you can slow it down really slow if you need to for more pressure. You can tell them resist and relax, okay? Resist, relax. So more communication compared to a Swedish massage then. Okay, next one, just going to bring it over here a little bit. And you can actually rotate it around a little bit just to loosen up the hips a little bit before you start working on those areas. So for this one, just put your knee up on the table. You can actually go down the hamstrings, okay? Or if you want, a little bit easier way to perform that is you put your foot on your shoulder, on your anterior deltoid region, and you actually go down the hamstrings. So you just go down, and you can even rotate out a little bit too. But if they're cheating a little bit, you can actually just put your foot up on the table, hook it, so the other foot is not going to move at all then, okay? So just beware of those other areas, otherwise it's not going to get a true stretch in those regions. Okay, next one, I'm going to actually cup the calcaneus here, and I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to hold here, and you can actually massage down these areas too. While you stretch out the gastroc, while you stretch out the hamstrings. You can even just have it bent a little bit too if you need to. Give a little bit of rotation. But cup the calcaneus, the heel. You can go right in the hamstring region. And you can even perform trigger point therapy. Remember, you can actually hold that trigger point and extend it. So more of an active palpating technique. Just keep moving it, move it in different directions if you need to. But again, the average athlete is going to be a little bit more flexible than the average person, so they're going to be able to handle these. Otherwise, the average person, you can just water it down too. So let's say they can't stretch all this way, and just have it a little bit, and you can still incorporate these things. But if the client is unclothed, you can actually have them hold a Roman drape. They just hold those two sheets together, so no areas will be exposed during that time then for this. Okay, for the low back area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress the hip right here. I'm actually going to reach underneath, push down on the hip, and lift it up. Okay, push down, lift it up. 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 Then you can also incorporate a little bit of it too. Just have the leg totally straight. Okay. And go all the way down, all the way around then too. You can use your forearm all the way down to the hip. And if you want, you can just ask them to move it up, but just always ask permission. Like there, you can actually go all the way around that region. So you can go right around the greater trochanter too, so you get a little bit more stretch then. Okay, for more of the low back area, what we're going to do is we're going to lift underneath and then kind of pull out. Okay, and you can just keep alternating that area, so especially if they have low back problems. But just make sure your body is more moving from side to side for the techniques. So just back and forth. Then if you want a little bit more pressure, have them bring the shoulder over here, have them lift up their side, then have them push down on the table, the other way, there we go. Okay, again, so they get a little bit of resistance. You can just alternate it up, even the mid back, upper back too for these techniques. Okay, next one. I'm just going to bring the leg over here with the upper body like this. So I'm actually going to go around the iliac crest area. So I'm actually stretching out this whole area, so it's making it a little bit easier to actually massage them. So just make sure, of course, you're on that side of the table for this technique, so try not to do a lot of leaning over when you're performing it. But just for demonstrational purposes, that's why I'm on this side. So just go around this area as much as you can to block that. You can also just have them try to lift up their leg, and then you massage the lower back during that time too. But just make sure it's more of a broad area that you're compressing, so make sure it's not a direct area, especially if they're not realizing it, they're going to push up really fast and it's going to hurt them. So for some of these techniques, just a broad area to start with, and then you can move to the trigger point area too, okay? So the diaphragm region, for more breathing, you can actually place your hand here, right above the navel, and have them just breathe into you. Okay, and then breathe out. So if they're seeming a little bit tense, you can just help relax them this way. Okay. And also you can go around the diaphragm, right around the ribs. Just incorporate some massage around there just to help, because the diaphragm is a muscle, so it needs to be treated too then, okay? So for the stomach area, you can actually incorporate lower back. You can actually go underneath the table. So I'm actually going underneath the table, dips above the iliac crest. You can actually roll your knuckles around or go right around the iliac crest. You can even push up a little bit, but just be more cautious when you're talking to them, because the kidneys are a little bit more floating this way, but you can actually massage the lower back, but just watch your reactions just to make sure. For the arm region, what you can actually do here is you can actually hold down the wrist and have them try to lift up. So you get a little bit of resistance. Relax. Okay, resist. There you go. Relax, resist, relax. And then you can also internally rotate it like this and have them trying to externally rotate, bring it out like this. Okay, go. So you can go across the forearm, the bicep region. Okay, the ratchet technique, like we showed you before, what we're going to do for this one, for the extensor region, we're going to actually flexion slide, extension nothing, flexion slide, extension nothing, flexion slide, extension nothing, flexion slide, extension nothing. Or one continuous, so a little bit of flexion and slide all the way up then, okay? But with the flexor regions right here, flexor's flat, extensor's hairy, that's where you can remember that. So extend, slide, flexion nothing. Extend, slide, flexion nothing. Extend, slide, flexion nothing. But again, median nerve right in the center, and if their fingers tingle at all, make sure you back off the technique then. Then you can also just use a broadened area over the whole area, and just do a slow glide over the forearm. So especially weightlifters, you want to incorporate a lot of techniques into there. Okay, for the bicep region, what we're going to do here is extend, slide, flexion, nothing. Extend, slide, flexion, nothing. Or you can just do little ones with just your thumb. So you can isolate it a little bit easier. Or just one continuous flow up the arm. Okay, next one we're going to do a rotation. So what we're going to do for this one, I'm going to externally rotate it like this and go across like this. And again, you can have them do the resistance with all these techniques too. Okay, or you can go the other way. You can go across. Let me get this angle. So again, like this, bring it down. So medial rotation or external rotation, glide it opposite then, okay? But again, if you want to go deeper, just go a little bit slower. Just watch your reactions, watch your breathing, watch all that. Okay, next one for more of the forearm, what you're going to do is just go down, and a lot of times their fingers will open up a little bit the deeper you go. Okay, so you can see the fingers are opening up. So just because you're contracting the muscles a little bit there. Then more for the palm area. Pinky, pinky. Wrap these three fingers, wrap these three fingers, and spread. You can even do a ratchet. You can extend the wrist going down like that then too, okay? And also for the palm, you can actually just place it on the table. Just kind of circular friction right in the palm. Usually adding a little bit more pressure there. And for the wrist, again with stretching it, sometimes you want to actually pull the wrist and then perform flexion. Because sometimes when you just go like this to stretch it out, it's not getting the ideal stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull and then flex like this then. Or you can pull and extend. Okay, so pull and extend. And this is actually radial deviation like this towards the radial bone. This is ulna deviation right here. So radial, ulna, flexion of the wrist, extension of the wrist. This is finger extension, finger flexion, opposition like this. Okay, elbow flexion, elbow extension. Okay. And then this is external rotation, internal rotation like this. So those are some of the actions of the arm. Also protraction is when they're lifting it up. Retraction is when they're bringing it down then, okay? Okay, so I'm going to stay right here and actually have them try to push up to the ceiling. And you can actually go down the forearm region for a little bit more pressure then, okay? And if you want, you can actually kind of have them rotate your forearms. So just rotate your hands around there. So kind of like a snake bite, but it's a little bit of a movement, so it's not going to cause too much kind of pain then, okay? Okay, now let me do a little bit of a stretch right here. So I'm going to hook it here, hold it down. You can actually go down the triceps, get a little bit more pressure. The way you can do is actually have them try to lift up their arm, get a little bit more pressure right in that region. So the triceps really get neglected a lot. You can even have them hold their hand, put it right underneath their head. Have them try to lift up their elbow, put a little bit more pressure, so you can get more of the tricep or bicep that way too. Or you can bring the arm over here like this and actually go down more to the lateral side of the arm. You can make a ratchet technique out of this too. Bring it down, ratchet it. Bring it down, ratchet it. And you can even have them hold on to your wrist. Okay? Lift up, and then have them try to push down on the table. So you can actually go up the whole arm then, okay? Relax. Okay, and then push down. There you go. And you can even have, you can hold on to the wrist here, both, extend, go down this way too. But if you think you're putting too much pressure on the wrist, that's when you want them to actually hold on to your wrist. You can extend it too that way. Okay, now right for the pec region, we're going to do a little rotation here. So right here, I'm going to rotate. So I'm going to rotate like this, and rotate around. So I'm doing internal rotation like this, and I'm just rotating my fist around this area. Otherwise you can plant your palm, go right around there. Or if you want to do the other way, external rotation. So remember it's a little bit bent, bring it around here like that then. Okay. But again, you can bring it at any different kind of angle, so just get used to it. So whatever angle works better for you, and try to incorporate those kind of techniques into there. Okay, for the pec minor, let me show you where the pec minor is. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to just pinch right here. We're going to go right underneath of it, but just make sure you don't go straight in. Make sure you go up, and then you bring an arm around like this. But that's your pec minor right there then, okay? So you just slide your fingers a little bit towards their sternum for a little bit more pressure. And for frozen shoulder syndrome, those kind of problems, you pinch right here, and it's the lower portion. So you're actually going to push down at an angle and still bring the arm over and slip under the anterior part of the scapula then. So you can go a little bit deeper each time. Otherwise, if you're going to go deeper, just make sure you go really slow to get right into the subscapularis, and that's the main muscle you want to treat for frozen shoulder syndrome. Okay. Now for the chest area, what you can do here is have them supinate, put both their palms up, and they try to put their palms down to the table, rotate them. So rotate them like this, okay? So go slowly, there you go, okay. Palms up, get palms down, there you go. Palms up, palms down. So you're just rotating it like that then, okay? So it's really good for the pec region. Also, you can just compress the pecs and just kind of separate out like that. Okay, for right at the sternum region, for more of the pec major, you can actually kind of separate it. So you can separate this area. And if you want a little bit of resistance, just try to have them try to lift up their chest. There you go. So I'll just demonstrate on one side, there you go. So you slide out a little bit each time then in that region. But also, real nice techniques too, is you can actually just find a trigger point, like in the pec region. Just bring it to 3 or 4 and just keep moving it around, just keep stretching that area out. Or you can actually just massage and do a little bit of movement with this area then, okay? So the more you do a little bit of movement, less likely that place is actually going to bruise too. So that's what's so nice about these techniques. Okay, next one for more the neck area, what we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate it like this. Move the hair to the side so you don't pull it, of course. And just hold the head down and just go, start right where the sternocleidomastoid is. Let me show you where the sternocleidomastoid is. You see this thing sticking up right here? Okay, and then relax it. And then just rotate and push it down like this then, okay? But you can also have them do some of the work too. So they're going to rotate it away from you, and you just slide it down then, okay? So you can just do that a few times, and you can increase the pressure a little bit more each time then, okay? Next one, I'm going to rotate the head like this. So you can actually slide down here, and then rotate a little bit more, and kind of hook underneath the suboccipital ridge here. So the suboccipitals, that's where the ghost headache muscles, that actually wraps around, more around your eyes. That's kind of like sunglasses. So that's where a lot of people actually hold a lot of tension, a lot of pain. Okay, next one, I'm just going to hook my fingers underneath the suboccipital ridge and just give them a little pull, a little traction. So anytime you pull anything like this, it's considered traction then, okay? So as you can see, I'm hooking my fingers right underneath the suboccipital ridge, hooking it there, and do a little traction then, okay? Another one this can be painful for some people, but some people really love it. I'm going to put my thumb right underneath the suboccipital ridge here, on both sides. Place my hands here, but don't cover the ears. Make sure it's a little bit open, and just traction a little bit down. So you can actually get a lot of pressure that way for that region. Okay, next one, I'm just going to rotate the head up and just go across the pecs. So I'm going to pull the head like this, go across the pecs, across the anterior deltoid region to get a little stretch in there, okay? So just some of the stretches too. Again, this is rotation, okay? This is neck flexion. Neck extension was when you bring it back. Bilateral flexion when you just bring it to the side, okay? So those are some of the actions for the neck area then, okay? So for the lower body, you'll start off in the lower leg here. So at the foot, you can actually just kind of rotate like this. And again, if you want more pressure, you can have them lift up, or you can actually do kind of ratchet. You can pull it, do those kind of motions then, okay? Okay, let's go down the gastroc, the soleus region. So what I'm going to do here is actually dorsiflexion is like this, okay? This is plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion, slide, plantar flexion, nothing. Dorsiflexion, slide, plantar flexion, nothing. And you can also, if you think you had too much oil or anything on, just rest it like this. And actually, it's a little bit easier for these techniques then. Okay, and you can also rotate it out like this, do a ratchet going down that way. Or for more the proneus region, the opposite leg. Make sure it's always the opposite leg. So you're rotating it, pushing it down, going down. Otherwise you can inversion. So this is inversion. Slide down the proneus, eversion, nothing. Inversion, slide, eversion, nothing. Or one continuous flow with that. Okay, you can even go down the calf. Or you can cup the calcaneus, dorsiflexion, and then glide down the gastroc and soleus. Or you can bring it over here. I'm going to actually flex the knee. And also plantar flexion, go down more of the tibialis anterior. So plantar flexion, slide, dorsiflexion, nothing. Plantar flexion, slide, dorsiflexion, nothing. Or you can get more of the soleus and gastrocnemius right here too, okay? And go down those regions. Okay, so next one, I'm going to bring the leg over here like this. Like this. I'm going to cross it, so just give them a little stretch this way. So just make sure, as you can see, it's not right in the popliteal spot. It's like an inch or two up. Compress, plantar flex, go down. And with this position, you can actually go across the TFL region. Also the biceps femoris is right here for you. So you can go across that. And of course, being on the other side of the table works a little easier. And you can even bring this over here to compensate yourself a little bit easier. So, next one, where I'm going to actually bring it over here. I'm going to cup the patella, the kneecap, and then go right down the biceps femoris here. So you can even bring it over here like this. You can stretch it out while you're actually massaging this area. Or you can kind of rotate it around too. Like that. Okay, next one, like I showed you earlier on the videotape, extension slide, flexion nothing. Extension slide, flexion nothing. Extension slide, flexion nothing. Or you can just do one continuous glide up by extend. Okay, next one, then rotate, slide across, rotate, slide across, rotate, slide across, or you can push it away and rotate, okay? Okay, next one we're going to do is we're going to find the sacrum. You're going to push into the sacrum and pull the foot towards you then, okay? Push in the sacrum, pull it towards you. Push in the sacrum, pull it towards you. Push in the sacrum, pull it towards you. Or you can push straight down and push away. Push straight down, push away. Push straight down, push away. If you want to incorporate more of the lower back area, so what I'm going to do here is going to pull the foot towards me and go across the low back, the opposite side. You can even go the same side if you need to. It's a little bit harder, but the opposite side of the low back, I'm going to pull it towards my way this way and go across the lower back. You can also push it away from you and go across the same side of the low back. But you can also use your forearm right in here. You can even kind of rotate it and kind of go up the back too. Rotate it, go up the back, rotate it, go up the back. So any which way. You can even do a little ratchet back and forth. So glide up a little bit each time you ratchet. Okay, next one I'm going to do is I'm going to place my elbow in the glute region, place my hand underneath here, and you can actually just kind of rotate and massage it like this then. Another one that's a little bit more difficult, same the idea. I'm going to place my hand here, elbow on the glute. You can actually massage the other leg right around the glute region on the same side. So rotate it around like that. And if you want, you can actually bring the leg more like this. So you're actually pulling it more when you're massaging that area then. But you can also just compress just one area. Just bring it into more pain, less pain. Just keep stretching that area out, just in one area. So you remember a lot of the glute regions will actually refer pain down the leg, especially the gluteus minimus. That's a big one that kind of mimics sciatic problems. So there's one point that will actually go down the posterior part, the other one will go down the lateral side. And also with piriformis problems, the tightness in those regions. Now for the lower back region, what you're going to do is ask permission to actually cup their hip. So you're going to, on the opposite side, you're going to cup the hip like this. I'm going to lift it up and go across the lower back. Or you can actually compress the gluteal region and lift up this way then for the lower back region. Then you can also kind of separate around the lower back. A lot of broadening techniques work really nice for the lower back region. You can also push in to the vertebrae, but not over it, but just into more of the rectors. And you can actually just pull the foot towards you then, okay? So flex the knee and pull the foot towards you. So you get a little bit more resistance that way then. So more of a ratchet again then, okay? And next one, you can actually have them lift up their hip. Okay, now push down on the table. There we go. So you can go right around that area then, okay? Lift up, push down. There you go. Okay, next one, you can actually bring their arm over like this. You can actually go across the lower back. So if you want, you can actually have them hold on. Okay, there we go. So right across the low back region, give them a little stretch then that way. Or you can grab the opposite shoulder and go across that way to the lower back. Okay, next one, go right on the spine, but not a lot of pressure, but kind of twist. Okay. So you're just kind of cupping the spine. Just going around. Okay, next one, you can do a broadening, one corner, the other corner. Okay, next one, I'm going to bring up the shoulder like this, have this bent, and go across. This might be a little bit difficult, and if you want, you can actually cup the shoulder just to make sure if you feel anything moving, make sure you can stop the technique then, so it's totally safe. Okay, next one, you can actually both of them at the same time. Just lift it up. Now you can do some compression on any areas in the body, so it's actually stretching out the pec region during that time. Or you can actually put both your hands underneath here like this. You can actually broaden, go down, or separate out. More of a stretching aspect there. For side lying, what we're going to do is you can actually pull the shoulder towards you like this. So pull it and go across the lower back region. So most people don't take advantage of side lying position, but it's actually easier to get in some areas than others. So just like with the rotator cuff muscles, they're right there for you, so it's a little bit better angle for you. Also for the serratus anterior right here, you can actually access this easier. Also the lats, the QL, you can actually push down a little bit in that region. Psoas for larger people, that's the position you want to use for the psoas region. Okay, so then you can also kind of rotate the arm too, have a little bit flexed and go across it too. So just go across. Or you can have the arm over here like this, push this way, then pull this way. So again, most people have problems with low back issues. If you want a little bit more stretch in an area, you're actually just going to bring the leg off the table like this and down. So you can actually go up the body then. And if you want the whole lateral side of the body, you're going to extend this over their head. So it's stretching. So you can do kind of like a myofascial, but you can actually speed it up a little bit. Or if you want a little bit deeper, you can actually do a ratchet too. So you can actually grab the leg, kind of pull it down, go up, but down, go up, go down, go up. So you can do those ratchet techniques for the whole lateral side of the body then. Okay, next one, you can actually have them push into you, push your glutes and the lower back around, so you can go around that region. Or you can even use your forearm going around there too, okay? But again, you can go a lot slower, so I can show you how slow sometimes you can go. So always watch your reactions in their body too. If it's too much or not enough. Okay, next one. Just going to bring the arm over here like this and just do a little stretch and actually go around the pec region with your knuckles or your palms and stretch that area out. Also with the glute region, you can grab the foot, pull it towards you, but compress the glutes and you kind of rotate around, kind of stretch that area out. Or you can cup the knee like this. You can get more of the lateral side too. Just keep doing a little bit of rotation. Or leg totally straight, totally abduct. You can actually go down the lateral side. So use your forearm, go down this area. Or you can even go, give a little stretch and go across the low back. So those kind of techniques. Or you can even drop the leg a little bit, but just keep it straight. But if they can't, if their leg is a little bit bigger, just have them do some motions with it then too. Okay, now with the neck region, it's a little bit easier to get into here. So you can actually go right around there. You can even rotate the head a little bit too, or pull the shoulder back to get in there, okay? You can even go down, get the levator scapula there, and then that way the traps, but just make sure you're not pushing right on the vertebrae at all for that then, okay? Let me go to more of the lower legs here, so you can see how easy it is to get at the adductors. So when you flex the knee like this more, as you can see, the adductors right here. Let me go around to the other side of the table. You kind of separate the adductors. So honestly, this is the best position for the adductors. So definitely try this out, and you can even have them kind of push up, so they can push up with some pressure if you want a little bit of resistance then. Or you can actually hold up their foot like this and kind of go across, and if you want you can try to have them push down to the table. There you go. Do kind of ratchet that way too. So you can ratchet for the adductors. But there's just so many different options you can incorporate. So all the techniques that we already went over today, you can actually incorporate sideline positions for them. But again, just to review, the adductor region, this is a really nice area. Also the glutes, the tensor fasciae lata area. Also the biceps femoris, vastus lateralis is right here. The lats, the serratus anterior, rotator cuff, the deltoids. Everything's, a lot of the muscles are actually on the lateral side, so you can actually access them a little bit easier then, okay? Okay, so that concludes the video, and thank you for watching.